What can you say about God? How do you call God? What is it? What is God? In this video I want to talk about that which we cannot talk about. That undefined essence. The absolute. Freedom. Infinity. Reality. The Great. The Tao. Zen. You know, many different traditions talk about this essence and describe this essence. And in this video I just wanted to share my observation of that oneness of the descriptions of this essence and inspire you for an open-minded approach to your inquiry into the divine. Hey everyone, this is Psychedelic Actualization. Here we talk about psychedelics, and I love to help psychedelic people integrate the experiences, which can be at times really tough and difficult, especially if you get into the what we call the mystical realm, the transpersonal realms of experience, and sometimes even into this what Maslow calls the peak experience. We feel like it's inevitable. We feel like there is a merging with this oneness, with what we could call God. But integrating that, finding the words for that, sharing that experience with others, that's where we run into difficulty for ourselves. So there's a psychedelic actualization community if you're curious and interested in talking with like-minded people who have had similar experiences of the divine, and to inquire and contemplate together into that, into the nature of that. You're free to join that community. I warmly invite you in. So I want to start this conversation with just like the recognition of the value of being open to study different traditions. I know there's great value and great joy in committing to one path and really going deep with your relationship with the divine in one particular path. That's wonderful. But I'd say while you are doing that or before you are doing that, there's great value in opening your perspective. Basically in studying and exploring and experiencing an infinite amount of perspectives, an infinite amount of ways in which people and sages and mystics of the past have spoken about this essence that we're all longing for in our heart. Because the merging with that brings infinite peace, you know? It's like there's a longing in our hearts for wholeness, for completion, for this silence, for this awakening, you know, this enlightenment. So it's necessary that we open our minds to different words, to explore different ways of seeing the world that inquire into this essence. And there's many different perspectives of those infinite ones that for me don't resonate personally, as they create lots of layers of descriptions and definitions and language around that which cannot be defined. But But overall, I found with the people who have articulated certain things or tried their best in pointing to this undefined essence, that there's a great consistency in that pointing in many different traditions. Lao Tzu is just one example. He calls it the Tao, the way, or the great is another word that he has used. And the Christian traditions, especially it's called the apopathic theology. It's negative theology, basically inquiring into the nature of God. They call it God, right? Into the nature of God by denying everything, saying it's not this and not that. Because they recognize that if you can define God, then it's not it. That is, it's not God. Anything you can define is not Him. It's not that. It's not the ultimate, the absolute, the highest, the highest. So in pointing to not this and not that, it's a similar pointing in Advaita Vedanta. It's a similar pointing in some Hindu traditions, in Kashmir Shaivism. It's a similar pointing in the Upanishads. It's also called not this and not that, neti neti. So the name that these people have found for that which cannot be defined is like a description of the undefined. Other people have called it truth. It's a wonderful one that resonates with me a lot. Equaling God with truth and saying, in Sikhism they say Ik Onkar, there's only one God. And Satanam, the name is truth, the name of the one. Because it's if you say, and it just makes sense to me, I would take it as common sense, that God is everything and God is everywhere, omniscient, omnipresent. He is in everything. Then he cannot be defined by anything, because a definition requires something which it is defined against. And everything cannot be defined against anything, but only nothing. So this points to this God as being no thing, nothingness, as it cannot be defined, right? This essence, this absolute. Which brings us to the thoughts and streams of Buddhism, who also describe wonderfully a similar experience and put a lot of emphasis on the no self, even going beyond the experience of no self. The beyond is another name, for the one and for truth. It's whatever you say it is beyond that. It is beyond the beyond, is another description of that undefined essence. And that is what makes it divine. This is what's humbling, because when there is an experience of selflessness, there has to be a giving up or a merging with what we perceive ourselves to be, to that which is and which is not at the same time. It's a paradox we've got to embrace. But that's humbling, that's humbling to the mind, it's humbling to the ego, to the identity we have built up. Because we have to give up all definitions, all concepts, all notions, all knowing, and tap into the cloud of unknowing. the infinite darkness which equals infinite light. And there is only one of that which is beyond. The first definition, the first word that resonated with me when I started my spiritual journey, the word journey is even like, it's a fun one in regards to this, you know. I'll come to that in a bit. It's Zen. Because the Zen was pointing at the trap of the perception of a spiritual journey. We like to create a story that we are on this journey to the beyond, even though the beyond, it's like it's unreachable and still ever present. There is a completeness, because it cannot be completed. It is already complete, you know, so there's nothing we can do to achieve that completion. Because nothing added to completion could make it more complete. It is perfection. The essence of perfection. That is that undefined essence. So thinking that we are on a journey, that we are not complete, we are not free, we are not whole, we are not love, we are not truth, we are not the Tao, we are not Zen, we're not this, you know? That is an illusion in and of itself. Because it cannot be anything else but this. We cannot be anything else but this. Right? Atman is Brahman. The illusion is reality. There is no Maya. You know, it's like See, it's hard to talk about this. Because the nature of language itself is limiting the inquiry of that, what we're trying to talk about. So then the approach is one of being, you know, the approach is one of experiencing. All this fluff that I'm doing right here and all those great sages have been doing is pointing to that. It's like it's maybe meant at the best to inspire an experience, an awakening, an understanding in the presence of that. Because it's like it's knowledge and the understanding and the reading of the scriptures and the talking about it is only going to get you so far. Right? What the psychedelic experience is showing at times is that the experience of it, you know, that's what the psychedelics are so wonderful for. It's like they're pointing, the 5-MeO-DMT especially, it's pointing to the experience. And even experience is a limited word, right? Or vessel for... Well, experience inevitably has to be the vessel by which we glimpse into non-experience, into this nothing, into the beyond, right? Because it's... And that's the tragedy of the human experience, but also the magic and the wonder and the awe. The fascination is that it's unreachable, that which we are trying to attain and still ever present. So experience is our vessel to get to non-experience, but we cannot stay there, you know, we cannot stay with that, with God, while being embodied? Or can we? You know, that's the question, that's the great quest. That's the struggle I am living with every single day. The longing, the feeling of that separation, the feeling of that illusion of the mind, of the deception that is running all day, every minute. But at the same time, there is the peace and the knowing that there's nothing I can do. Like, that is like, it's still always already present. I'm always already free, because I know from my experience that this oneness is the reality, that there is no separation between anything. So, if you are curious about talking to me for your inquiry of that psychedelic integration into the nature of that which cannot be defined, then feel free to book a one-on-one consultation and we can talk about refining that clarity for yourself and the practices and intellectual explorations that you might want to take next for your journey into that which is and that which is not. Much love. There is no much love. It's infinite. It's unconditional. It's infinite. Don't say there's no quantity in the love of God.